This is interesting. Greetings, Wanderer. This is Atlas here, and welcome to the Void. Today I'm going to be reacting and breaking down a song called Inazuma from the Genshin Impact original soundtrack. Surprisingly enough, this song was nominated in my Patreon for the polls, and it lost the polls that it was up to. I can't remember which was against it, but it basically lost and went to the void. But one of my Patreon Awakened tier members resurrected the nomination to be on top of the list. And that's one of the perks that you get. The Awakened tier, you have an ultimate ability called Resurrect, where you can bring your nomination to the top of the list as a priority to be done and resurrected from the void. So that's what I'm going to do today. You can check more about that in my Patreon page in the tier. In the Awakened tier, you can check all the benefits that it comes with along with the ultimate ability. All right. So I am really looking forward to this. This is the first time that I will be reacting and breaking down a Genshin Impact song. I've never played the game. Well, that goes without saying that I've never heard the music whatsoever. But before we begin, I would like to invite you to listen to my latest song, which is a BERSERK-inspired song called Conceived in Blood, which is the song that you have been listening in the background of the intro of this video. So if you like what you hear so far and you would like to hear the full song, I'm going to leave it in this card right here, but also in the description of this video, right? And with that being said, onward! Alright, so we got Inazuma from Genshin Impact original soundtrack. Boom! It starts with a Chinese kind of harp right from the get-go. This is also like a transversal flute, but it is like a Chinese one. I can tell by the sound. It's not as sweet as the ones that you would hear in a Western orchestra or something. It has a waltz thing going on. I think this is 3x4. Yeah, it does. That was cool. I love the dynamics in the instruments in this part. Oh, it actually switched to a more Western harp in the background. This is interesting. It went from the very exotic Chinese traditional thing to more of a jazzy or orchestral kind of thing. Now it picked the energy. The energy just went up with the more traditional part again. But it has more layers. Very nice. The brass arrangements have this little hint of big band kind of thing. Very nice. And it has an actual resolution. Okay, this song was very surprising because it starts, very traditional, with very exotic Chinese instruments. I don't know the name of them, the names, apologies, but yes, very much towards the region, something that sounds like so ingrained within the folklore of Chinese culture and whatnot. Then it transitioned into something of a more Western sound with the harp and whatnot. I think there was even a saxophone or something in the brass. And then it went towards the climax with the more traditional thing again, in terms of the instruments, but with more layers because the energy just spiked and so on and so forth. So yeah, I want to talk about not just the instruments, but also, what the storytelling of the whole thing is, and how the energy and the tension works in the song, along with the sort of a graph of how it looks like, sort of, and the resolution of it, all right? So let's break it down. Alright, so for this particular breakdown, I've been noodling around a little bit with the guitar, and there are some things that I can't quite figure out yet, but I'm gonna do my best to do something approximately close to what is happening in the song itself. I played a little bit of a leitmotif. The chord progressions that are there, they're very simple, to be fair. And then that transitions into the more 3x4 kind of waltz dancey part that you hear after, and that evolves towards the climax, or the highest energy point of the track, which is where the whole percussion and all the other layers of the track emerge, let's say. Alright, so as you can hear there, that's obviously not entirely accurate, but I just did some improvising over what I suspect could be the scale in which this leitmotif is. And as you can hear, it sounds very, Eastern, very Chinese-like. However, I would like to point out that these Chinese, even the Japanese scales, are, I think, for basically like pentatonic scales. And you will, the interesting thing, and I think I've explained this in another video, is that not only the instruments that are performing the scale is what gives them, that regional exotic sound, which is a very huge part of it, but also the way it is performed, because you could play something more along something that sounds more bluesy, or something that sounds more so like country music or something. There are two genres that use a lot of a pentatonic scale, or the blues scale, which is, you could say, like a modified version of the pentatonic scale. And the way you perform it is what actually makes it sound more towards, more of a Chinese kind of melody, other than a country music or a blues kind of melody. Alright, so as you can hear there, that sounds like, super bluesy, bluegrass, or, a little bit of a country there, Those kind of pentatonic things are, all spread over those kind of genres. But the funny thing is that I'm playing the same notes, basically the same notes that where the leitmotif in this song is, or at least like most of them. And it's like this scale right here, right? But you can notice the difference of how different it is when you perform it in a different way. So as you can see there, as you can hear there, the rhythm and the rhythmic cadence of the notes and how they are performed, it's absolutely completely different from what we hear in the leitmotif of the song, which is more of a sustained, elongated passages, notes in the same scale. So I'm going to play the same scale, but with the Chinese flair, let's say. Did you notice the difference? There's a massive difference, right? Because it's just the difference in the way it is performed. As for the chords, I would say that they are very simple, but at the same time, I can't really tell what exactly they are, because I know that in the intro we hear an A something. I don't know what it is. I basically played like an A suspended chord, which actually sounds pretty cool, and a D. No. Yeah, a D, but or you can play like something like this, and it switches in between those chords, like something A and something D in between those chords in the intro. And then when it comes the waltzy part, it has more of a variation where it goes to an E minor, I think. And this almost more, not entirely sure, but I'm more sure than this than the other ones. All right. So let me play it. With the microphone on the guitar. Now there's something else that I'm doing to add the exoticness, let's say, to the sound, and is that I'm playing the notes near the bridge of the guitar. And when you're doing that, you actually make it sound more you could say, like, the first thing that comes to my mind is like a sitar, right? A sitar has like this like this very, very Eastern sound, very exotic sound, and that is more, that the sound of the sitar is more closely to the sound of the of an exotic, Japanese or a Chinese instrument that a guitar, like a folk guitar would ever have. But luckily you can approach or make it as close to that by playing in the bridge, because I'm gonna show you how it's different it sounds when I play it on near the bridge as opposed to near this part or close to the fretboard of the guitar, right? Bridge. Entirely different. So there you have it. That's quite the difference, right? And you can tell that by playing it on the bridge, it gives it like a more exotic feel. So there were like a couple of tricks, let's say, that I did performance-wise to be able to approximate the sound to the exoticness, again, of the sounds that we hear of the notes, according to the, the instruments that they are played and whatnot. Alright, so to finalize my commentary, I would like to say that, in terms of the energy and the tension of the track, it's pretty much a large build-up towards the climax of the song, of course. You could hear that the song starts very tamed in terms of the amount of instruments that are involved and whatnot. Then it has this very interesting change, but again, very tamed, with long passages, long notes, sort of legato notes in the brass and whatnot. And we might have like some spikes here and there in terms of the energy, and yeah, more than so in the energy of a track, but at the same time it's like a long build up towards the end of a track, or where all the you can hear all the instruments way more involved. The energy just spikes right there, and it's like a build up. It goes like this towards the climax of the song, which is at the end. You can hear all the layers of the instruments involved. The percussion comes in. The percussion actually plays a very huge role at the end, because that's what gives like the true power spike, let's say, on the track. Those very tribal, very energetic arrangements in the percussion. And surprisingly enough, the song actually has like a resolution, like there's a beginning to the story and an end, a resolution, an actual, this is the end of the story. Now, I'm not sure if Inazuma is like a character or a place, because from what I saw in the video, it looks like a place in the game. So I'm gonna go on a limb here and say that it's an actual place in the video game. So what I'm guessing is that let's say that the first time you go into Inazuma, you are basically like the first half, and more so than the track is just trying to talk about the beauty of the place in the tiny things, you know what I mean? Because the beginning of the track is very tame, like I said before, and whatnot, and it starts building up. So I'm guessing that the city, like the storytelling of a song, but also goes along with what the place, the city, or the place where in this game Inazuma is. It's talking about, you know, the beauty in the little things first, and then goes towards the more majestic kind of things, you know. The end of the track sounds more like this you know, magnificent architecture structures, you know, something like the Chinese wall, you know, or something like that. But translated in the game, of course, like you will see these very beautiful, amazing buildings in the city and whatnot that actually tell the story of the grandiose of the place you are in itself, right? Like it's like for example, if you went to Rome and you start going on the streets, you know, and you see the old houses and whatnot. And okay, yeah, well, these are the tame beauty little things of a city, but then you go towards the Colosseum or something like that, and then it's like, yeah, this is the apotheosic part, because it's just such a magnificent structure or something like that. So that to me is sort of what's happening in the storytelling of this track is in a specific. That beauty in the little things, you know, of the song, in terms of the city, the culture within the city, the people and whatnot, and then you go towards the most awe, you know, shock and awe kind of things, which are the big buildings, you know, maybe a military building or a palace or something like that, something that even could be understood as something either sacred or magnificent in terms of magnitude of the scale of the project, like the pyramids of in Egypt or something like that, you know, like it's kind of a seven wonder of the world kind of thing, or something, you know, more of an imperial kind of thing, you know, like a palace or something like that, right? So yeah, I think I'm gonna give this track a silver badge. I really enjoyed the half section of it where it has this more of a Western approach with the harp and I think it was a saxophone that was playing in that part. It came out of the blue, but I think it was a really cool like balance in between the exoticness of the track along with the more polarizing parts, which is the beginning at the end. All right. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and share it with your friend. Also, please don't forget to visit my Patreon, my Ko-fi profile, and my Ko-fi store in case you want to support my work further, and my Teespring merch shop. And of course, ex nihilo nihil fit.